Welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner, Classic, Non-Classic. This is episode number 1309 and Doubleshot number 1203. More big stuff for you. Now, this book I got from Ollie's for about $5. So the cover price of this book was like a lot more. This book is Squadron Supreme. Yes, this is the original 12-issue maxi series, collecting a book from the 1980s. This cover is not the original cover. This actually cover was designed by the awesome Alex Ross. He does his amazing cover. Now, the original book came back in 1985. Yes, all 12 issues of this book. It came out from September 1985. I think it was like August of 1986. This book also includes Captain America 314, which is typically a crossover with this book. Yep. Now, written by the late Mark Greenwald, he also did some stuff for this book as well. And he writes everything in here. Everything here is all written by him. And the Squadron Supreme book is drawn by Bob Hall. That's the first 5 issues in issue 8. Paul Ryan does issues 6 and 9 through 12. 7 basically layouts of the book is done by John Bushma. And Paul Norton does issue 314. The cover art for the trade is done by Alex Ross, obviously. The back cover here is done by Bob Hall, Joe Robertson, and Matt Medina. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, this storyline takes place after a storyline half pages of Avengers. There's a lot of editorial notes here. So, Overmind, yeah, he was a character who debuted in the pages of Fantastic Four, who later showed Defenders, and apparently tried to take over the world for Squadron Supreme. And the Squadron Supreme does something completely, let's just say, the way that this version. Now, if you're curious though, what the heck is the Squadron Supreme? It's the basically Marvel's pastiche for the Justice League. Hyperion, Superman, Power Princess, who was right here behind him, Wonder Woman, Nighthawk, Batman, Spectrum, Green Lantern, Lady Lark. She is not on the cover, but Lady Lark is their take on Black Canary. The Wizard. That is actually their take on The Flash. Blue Eagle, Hawkman. Yes, he's a pastiche on Hawkman. Let's see, who else is here? Golden Archer, that's actually their take on Green Arrow. Tom Thumb, I think he has to take on Oberon. Yeah, from New Gods, because he's a short guy. Mm-hmm. Yes. Nuclear Man, I'm not really sure who the heck he's based on. I mean, he could be anybody. The only character I can think of who could be close to this one is maybe Captain M. I'm not really sure. Like, if you're curious about those cool glasses that you see Hyperion wear, yeah, he doesn't wear them until toward the end of the series. Now, after what happened with Overmind, basically, now here's the thing. In this world, Nighthawk basically became president of the United States. He had retired from crime fighting to become a politician and ran for president. And because Overmind basically allowed the Squadron to become sort of a dictatorship, they apparently wanted to do that again, but do it a little differently. Do it in a very natural way. And have it where they pretty much do this whole thing in like a period of 1 year. And they have this thing called a mind-altering thing. It alters people's emotions. Now, Golden Arch used it on Lady Lark, which he immediately regretted doing. I don't know if this was basically Grant Morrison. Now, I don't know if Grant Morrison remember the idea of all people's minds, this mind-altering thing. They probably got the idea for this doing for a lot of the super villains in DC Comics. Grant Morrison, probably our DC writers, they must have borrowed this idea from Marvel. Yes. Now, Lady Lark had turned down Golden Arch was winning a proposal, and he had told her, in a way, altered by which he immediately regretted, to have her fall in love with him. And, of course, later on, he quit the team. Nighthawk quits the team in the first issue, because he does not agree with the Utopia plan proposed by Power Princess. And they kind of, in a way, they do it in kind of an interesting way. I appreciate how Mark Greenwald does this, because this is, like, if you're going to read Squadron Supreme this run, you got to read from the start to the very end. We have to read some prerequisites and stuff here. They do throw in here Captain America 314, which is a guest appearance by Nighthawk. Well, Nighthawk of this Earth, not the 616 Nighthawk. Yeah, it's rumored he was actually dead at this point, but he's actually alive. He's perfectly fine. Last I heard, I think he's retired, and he was training his successor. That was last I heard when it comes to Nighthawk. Yeah, for being a purely good book. And by the end of the book, the whole squadron basically stepped down from what they were doing, and they all turned themselves in for apparently abusing their power again. Yep, but I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. It's a damn good book. And it's not a book by Mark Greenwald that people don't talk about very much. What book is the number one book people talk about the late Mark Greenwald? Captain America. That's the number one book people talk about. Because he had a long run for that book. But this is one of the few books he was working on in the 80s, aside from Captain America. He also worked on Quasar, which he wrote every issue of that series, but one lasted about 60 issues. He had a very lengthy run for Avengers. He did a lot of books for Marvel. And he's probably, in a way, you could kind of think of him as the 80s version of Brubaker. He was popular, and people loved his work. And he always kept his book pretty much intact. Now, mostly, one thing at least got appreciated this book, it's self-contained. Yes, because it's a different universe, they can do whatever the heck they want. Now, if you're curious, though, is there any deaths in here? Not really, no. They also have it where in this Earth, where they actually altered the minds of the former suit villains of this world to obey them, and of course, it's on their own city, which that's interesting. It's starting their own city. But it's an overall fun book, and I do highly recommend it when it comes to Marvel Comics. It is a fantastic book. Love it. Next up, we're going back to the Golden Age. We have Superman, the Action Comics, Arcguards, Volume 5. This collects issues, basically the Superman stories from issue 69 to 85. Mostly put, it's a lot of like Golden Age hijinks when it comes to Superman, like him telling Mixie Mitsaplik for an issue, the prankster, and a lot of basically stuff dealing with some wars. Not much for war in here, surprisingly. Yeah, if you read these issues, there's barely any mention, aside from the advertisement on the cover, there's nothing new with World War II in here. He's basically all, like, at home, not with corrupt politicians, per se. Mostly he deals with gangsters. That's most what Superman deals with, gangsters. With some alien threats here and there. But like the early stuff for Superman, this stuff people don't usually talk about very much because, well, it's basically mid-1940s Superman. Though surprisingly, by the time the 50s rolled around when superhero comics were dying, Superman was actually one of the very few action stuff going because people love Superman. Yep. Now, you're probably thinking, is the original creators involved with these issues? Well, they're involved for like a couple of the stories in here, mostly plays about different people. You have Wayne Boring, who does issues. It's basically, they don't really list up the writers. It's mostly Jerry, I think it might be Jerry Siegel, I'm not really sure. Because they didn't really credit the writer in here. No, it's not. They didn't really credit him for some reason. Basically, mostly credit the artwork in here. Wayne Boring does issue 69. There's no credit for issue number, like, it's unknown who does 69, the story in that one. For 70, it's Don Cameron, who does also 71. 72 is done by Joe Siegel, Joel Shuster. 73, Jerry Siegel and Sam Creighton. No credit for 74 for who the writer is, but the artist of Ira Yogberg for issue 75. No credit, still same artist. 76, no credit for the writer because no one knows who it is. They have art by Ed Bogota. Like, Wayne Boring does very much like a lot of the covers. Yeah, that's the guy's name. Don Cameron does issue 77. 78 is Alvin Swartz. Don Cameron does issue 79, 80, and 85. Jerry Siegel does issue 63. There's no writing credit for 81, 82. 84 is just Joe Green with John Sekila on the artwork. But like I said, it's mostly a lot of one-shot stories when it comes to Superman. It's by far, with the exception of Mixie Mitsblick and the Prankster, a lot of very weak stories when it comes to Superman. Which comes back to the question, like, if you're even from my perspective, like, how the heck did this character survive the 40s? Yeah, without Lex Luthor, mind you. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get this book roughly the first book's kind of weak. I give this book roughly a 7. An Arcguard book, you give a 7? Well, it's the golden age, basically. Some books are good, some books are bad. Well, there's actually a Christmas edition here, which that was actually pretty good. The artwork in here is good. Just the stories here, just some of them are not interesting at all. I mean, the only stories I find interesting was the Christmas issue, the story with the Prankster, and Mixie Mitsblick. And that's it. Yeah. But not much else to say about these two trades. But Squadron Supreme was awesome. The Superman the Action Comics Archives, okay. Yep. So yeah, that's it for single review, and that's probably gonna be a video because I don't have more videos to do. So last one for today. So if you're curious though why this 4th video is going up today, because the first video, which is the Comic Corner, that was something I did yesterday that I just did not get a chance to upload last night because it got late. So expect those videos up, and I don't think I'll get time to do my videos. I don't think so, no. So tomorrow, 6 reviews for Black Clover and maybe our Comic Corner, okay? See you next video. Bye.